Annabelle, you did very good today. You are a really well-behaved dog, and you're very cute. This is Annabelle's roadmap to success. Now, usually when I go through these, I have a litany of things to go through with people. And these are usually like 20, 25-minute videos. This is going to be pretty short because she's a really well-behaved dog, and she's a very smart dog. Now, one of the things I like her guardians to do is actually take advantage of that smartness. She seems to pick up on things really quickly, so if we could teach her, I'm going to put you right here so I can rub your belly, and you're more camera presence this way. So I'd like the guardians to maybe go to YouTube or Google and just search for easy dog tricks, fun dog tricks, whatever it is, or commands. And then each week, I'd like the guardians to trade off, maybe Sunday or Monday or whatever day you want. One guardian watches the video. The video will show you how to do all the technique. And then basically, once the guardian teaches her, then we're going to teach our other guardian how to do the same thing, and we're going to practice that all week long. And then the next week, the second partner is going to take over, and he's going to do it. That way, if each one of us picks four, if one of you picks four, that's 2 months of you guys doing this. That's really going to help her respect you a little bit more. Let's not chew a hole in my pocket, sweetheart. I have a couple treats left, so let's motivate you over here. There we go. So if we do that, we're going to build her confidence, and it's going to make her more inclined to want to listen to us. Just because, like for us, if we have a mentor, the mentor helps us achieve a skill. Yes, I'll get them all out for you, Annabelle. I know that I can see. All right. So the two main things we went over, and they're basically in the video above, but is petting with a purpose and passive training. Now, it's going to take the guardians about a month to get in the habit of doing these things. So I'd like to make sure that every time that she comes to us, we're going to start with passive training. So every time she comes to us, we're going to pet her and say the word come. Every time she sits down next to us on her own accord, we don't ask her to do it. She just sits, we pet her and say sit. Try to pet her on her chin wherever you can. The main thing is we want to avoid patting her on top of the head. That creates a down nose orientation. We want her to feel good about the things we want. So pet her on her chin whenever possible. And say just the command word. One of the guardians was having difficulty. He was saying okay or good girl, and that's a very natural thing for us to do. But it doesn't hurt your dog, but it doesn't help your dog. So if I ask the dog for passive or for petting with a purpose, if I say come, and then when the dog comes to me and it sits, I pet it and I say the word come. I'm saying it twice. I'm saying it once during the command stage, once during the reward stage. The command is to get her to come to me. Then the reward is obviously paying her. And then by saying the command word right after the treat goes into her mouth, we create a more of a positive association with the treat. Or with the command, and because of the treats in her mouth and be delivered at the same time. So next time you ask her to do that, she's going to be more inclined to want to do that. So start off with sit, come, and down, but eventually we can come up with other command words as well. So maybe we ask her to go outside, we toss a treat out the door, and as soon as she goes out and gets it, we can use passive training and say outside. So now when you say outside, she knows that means to go outside. And I like going outside because I get a treat when I go outside. You get ants in your pants? I'll pet you a little bit more then. Okay, so the main two things for her is passive training and petting with a purpose. So passive training we just went over. Petting with a purpose is I want the guardians to get in the habit of not petting her when she demands it or if they just want to. We're just going to ask her to sit or to come or lie down unless she prepays for it. And if she prepays, make sure we pet her right away for doing that. Now, I'd also like the guardians to practice having some guests come over. And so, again, and find somebody who's a dog lover, but who will listen to you as your first guest. And again, have some hors d'oeuvres or whatever you want to do, but just have a nice half an hour or so visit, and you could play this little fetch game or come game that we just went through. You want to go into my bag now? Yes, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Let's get you this way. So teaching the dog to come really seemed to work well because we're asking her to sit when she does that. So what I do when I'm doing the come, I'll go through this real quick. Make sure that you're holding your hand with a 45-degree bend at your elbow so that your forearm is parallel with the floor. You're going to go up to put the dog into a sit, but not just vertically up. You want to go up in an arc over her head. You saw how that created that nose-up orientation. Eventually, she puts her butt down. So, and then because come is more difficult than sit, when she comes to me, I'm going to put her into a sit by raising my hand over her head. And then as soon as she sits, I'm going to lower, lick it off my hand, and then immediately say the word come. Now, if she jumps up on us, we bend our elbow away immediately as our way of saying, that's not what I wanted. We're not going to say sit. We're just going to wait, and as soon as she sits, then we're going to give her the treat and say the word sit. Now, if it goes longer than like 30 seconds, you can direct her into a sit, but I prefer just to let the dog figure it out on its own. But we want to avoid saying good girl or okay or anything else or any other words, just the word sit or come or down or whatever it is. But when we do this, I usually have everybody in, we have a nice little cozy living room in here. Have people at a couple equal distance apart. You have to have at least 3 people when they're doing this. Now, again, before I call the dog, I'm holding my hand out, and I say the word come once. Both guardians repeated the command word multiple times. The more you say it, the less you mean it to a dog. So say it once. If they don't come, then you want to make a sound to get her to look, and I like the kissing sound. I'm going to demonstrate. If you use it right, you'll get that response. As soon as she looks at you, then you start lowering your hand, and then she will run across the room to come to you to get that treat. When she does, you raise your hand over her chin, over her head. She lowers it, you let her lick it, and then say come. Now, if she comes and jumps up on you, again, we're to bend away, or if she comes and gets a treat from me, and then somebody else wants to call her, and she's like, I'm not going to that person because I know David still has more treats. I would cross my arms like this, lean back on the couch, and look up and hold still. Become uninteresting for her. After a while, and the other person now would say, come again, or kiss, and then as she looks at them, they lower their hand, she sits, we lower it, let her lick it off her hand, and then tickle under her chin. Now, after a while, we shouldn't have to raise it over her head to put her in a sit. She should just come and sit automatically. And as soon as she does, then reach over and give her that treat. Let me see, what else? That's pretty much it. The other thing is the guardians, because she's so popular in the neighborhood, everybody loves seeing her. I would carry a bunch of treats with you. And when you're on a walk, if you're running one of your neighbors, just say, hey, we're trying to teach her that the proper way to ask for attention is to sit. So I'm going to give you this treat. If you could please ask her to sit and only give it to her once she sits. And right after you put it in her mouth, say the word sit. So now if every walk we meet 15 people, we practice that. And we're going on a walk every day. After a week, or we got close to 100. After a couple weeks, she'll just go and sit in front of people and say, why aren't you petting me? Sit. Now, I know you were about to jump on the couch, but this is a good example of passive training. I wait for the dog to do the thing I want, and I immediately reward it, and I say just the command word. What do you think? You know what you need to do? You need to get together with Mini-Me. Mini-Me could use a good, positive, happy dog like you. Yes. All right. Well, Mini-Me, if you're watching, you got to come over and get a play partner going on, or have her go and visit you downtown. The rest of you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's a little inside joke. All right. So this is Annabelle's Roadmap to Success, if I can speak properly. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.